right? Every year appreciate a different country kind of a thing, just to break us out of that tired structure and routine, and step out of these constant stories in the movies about good versus evil and all this extreme polarity and war, and it's just so, we keep looping ourselves in a sense to like a Groundhog Day of these stories until we start to write new stories beyond that. And people say that you can't make exciting stories without good versus evil and duality, and I disagree. In fact, I challenge people to think in that way and to create an amazing, exciting adventure story beyond that, because I think that's what we're here to do. We're stepping up to that, to living a whole different reality beyond duality.
Yeah, and that's what being an artist is.
Yeah.
You take the colors and you create form from it. You don't look at it as black and white. You mix them together, you work with them, you add them to this color, and you create something beautiful. And then if somebody comes along and spills something on your painting, instead of saying, oh my God, it's ruined, and tearing it up, you look at it and say, hey, that looks like a tree. Or, wow, it's spilled in a really cool way, and I'm going to turn this into something. I mean, we're creative. We're able to take anything and turn it into something wonderful. Mm-hmm. If we stop and limit ourselves and say, oh no, this is ruined, or this is a mistake, or that's black, this is white, or this is right, this is wrong, this is good, and this is evil. We do, we're behind our own enslavement. There's no victim here, and we don't need to be victims, because it's our creativity that's everything, and that's what's really going to count in our future, is to be able to go way farther, and that's where the enjoyment and the bliss and the pleasure comes in, is that we get to be inventive and write the script.
Laura, have you read the Ringing Cedars of Russia books yet? Have you had a chance?
I flipped through them. I really, unfortunately, don't read hardly anything. Maybe it's just because I'm just so busy. But yes, I'm very well aware of those books and really deeply appreciate them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, I haven't really gotten the chance to read much. I wrote a book myself, and then
how's that coming along? Have you published it yet?
Well, a lot of it went missing. I'm not going to say why or how or where I think it came from, but 250 pages. And then my hard drive crashed, and it was a bit of a bummer. The proposal's still there, the chapter summaries, everything that it's all about. And then what was interesting is a lot of different things that were similar to it came to my attention, mm-hmm. and really validated, some of it. But it's not about the factual thing. It's just about... that story and that deeper place that we connect. I mean, and the thing is, when we express this stuff, there's so many people that come along and say, oh my gosh, they connect with it. It makes sense to them.
Right.
This is about reaching the truth within all, rather than sharing some great idea or breakthrough. It's the breakthrough of saying, I see your truth, you see mine, and mm-hmm. everything else can go. And that's really, why I just like to communicate a lot of this is because it's about the people I'm talking to, not about me.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm getting more from just the people in the audience than I feel like, oh yay, I'm talking about this. It's just knowing that there's a part of them that feels that they're being spoken to. They're not just taking in information. There's something that they can relate to that it helps them not feel so alone, really.
To not hide who they are and what they know. So that there are others who think and feel the same way as them, and they are coming forward more, right? And they are appreciated, and it's really an honor. It makes it worth it having to repeat so much. But just how you're able to keep, I know you're very passionate, but you're able to just keep speaking and sharing the same thing over and over again to these different audiences. And I don't know how long have you been speaking now publicly?
Maybe a year and a half.
Okay, so I think I did it for about 3-4 years. So yeah, I'm totally exhausted with speaking. As you know, it's hard to get in that space now. I'm in a totally different space. So I apologize if I was a little not if it wasn't a very easy interview on my part, or just very general.
I just get amazed. I'm just like, wow, I mean, I a lot of times I'm talking to people where this is all new to them. With you, it's just like, well, totally. Like, yeah, I completely agree. It's like, well, what do you think? I'm like, yeah. And, I mean, it's really awesome. Are we closing it where we say goodbye to each other, or should we add that?
I don't know if it's necessary. Do you want to have that to make it finalized? But I just prefer it to be like, it was more just an organic, raw conversation kind of a thing. of you sharing your message, and it's interesting because it reaches people in ways that we can't even foresee, right? Certain things that we say or certain vibrations that we emit, people are going to, get something from that, and it's going to open up a whole bunch of other inspiration for them and so forth. So, as you see, I really struggle with the formal part, the proper way, like the introduction. I have no idea how to do, and I'm just like, whatever. And I'm just like, there's a part of me that's like, should I play interviewer or should I just be, her friend and just converse with her kind of a thing and just throw structure and routine out the window kind of a thing.
Just as long as you're being yourself, it's perfect. And I love it. And, what was I going to say? Yeah, in the beginning, I think you and I were both a little nervous because you asked me a question. I was like, yeah, I'm processing a lot of information, but a lot of what I'm trying to share is about not processing so much. I'm like, oh, that really sounds great. I mean,
it doesn't matter because I know exactly what you're talking about. Every time I did a conversation or an interview or a conference, I always like, I could have used these words instead, and it comes to you later on, and it's just like, I should have said it like that. And it really, I found that even when I've totally botched and said everything wrong, it just doesn't matter because people hear the heart, the soul of the message, or through your eyes, they get it regardless. You can say it. It's just quite fascinating to see that it really is not in the words. So it's okay. Don't worry. I know I live through that all the time. Every time I do an interview, it drives me bonkers.
I love your videos because it's so funny because you're just really funny. And it's like, it's so you. It's so not like, I went to school to learn how to speak, in this particular way, and it's so from your heart, and it hits people so much more deeply, and people totally appreciate it. And I definitely get, the same kind of thing. I talk to, but, or if I have typos or I'm not doing something perfect, it's just, people just connect to the heart, and so I appreciate when people say that. I'm sure you'll be in tune with where you think I've probably blundered.
Yeah, I will watch for that as well. Well, for me, everything was wonderful. We're always so hard on ourselves compared to the other person. I'm like, Laura did wonderful and I blunder. And yet you're just vice versa. Jessica did so well and I blundered here and there. So it's just funny how that is. But
that's beautiful.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm still struggling with editing, and it's so crazy. Every time I do a video interview with someone, the video quality always goes wonky. I don't know if it's like me or my energy.
Just used that word the other day, wonky. I love it.
I love words in general, and I'm sad that we always use the same cliche words over and over when we get. I'm calling myself a verbal Picasso now, because it's just an honor with all these different words that we can play around with and make it into an art. Our words, our life, ourself,
Everything. That's what's so great about our conversation because it really encourages just that freedom, that creative freedom. Really funny.
But what?
I don't know why I added that, but yeah, and I have a relationship now, and it's interesting. And
you're in a relationship?
Yeah, excuse me, my head thing. A 3-year relationship broke up around the time I was doing Free Your Mind conference. Because I know you're sensitive like me. It's like you can really tell when, if we were really in trouble, I think people like you and me would be affected because the fairy queens are always affected by everything on the planet. Yeah. And I just see that life in you or that spirit in you, and it's definitely been noted in me. And it's sort of like Lord of the Rings when the fairy women were really affected when the dark side was winning, their health and they could feel it. And I used to feel that. And then something shifted and I've been getting healthier and stronger rather than, just in anguish and tears and just pain.
Really? And I'm like...
Well, it's important because, you definitely carry global Gaia energy. And so when something goes on, it's really important to tackle. So I'm thinking... it's just, you're just moving through energy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's like, I think because you carry so much more than just you process a lot of energy that isn't yours and you mourn and cry and probably release energy that isn't yours that you might unconsciously take on. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of runs through you. It's like, I remember I cried for 20 years straight, no joke, at least 3 times a day. I was bedridden for a good portion of it. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
And just, I really am conscientious of the millions of people on this planet and the cells and inside myself and what they go through. Anything, any little movie, any little story, I'll immediately start crying. I'll feel it as if I am them, and it's difficult to function. It's almost like if you care that much, the world will kill you, right? And
oh my God.
And I just want to play. I just want to be free and happy-go-lucky and. This survival mentality, I don't really have that still. I wish I did sometimes so that we could help so many people that way, right? Because I always look at my success being everybody else's success, and everyone else's success is my success.
I'm tired of feeling everything so deeply.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through a period where finally I detached. I didn't get so sentimental about every little thing that happens on Earth, because I just really, I trust. I know Gaia is going to be fine. It's just but I just feel her pain, and she's a conscious being, and she has an emotional body, and I lose myself in that. Because I mean, we're in a sense her children, and she's seeing all this happening, and and then I'm like, well, that's just the collective conscious I'm tuning into. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's far greater than me. And sometimes I just feel like I can't do anything in a day but just sit around and be emotional. Like, it's my purpose to do that. And if that's where I'm at, I'm not going to medicate myself. I mean, that would be such a cop-out to go on some sort of drug, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no way. That's not an option for me. For me, it's just like Earth is going through so much right now, and I feel like I'm like, can I help? Can I take some of your load off you? And I think that's why a lot of people are suffering mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, is we're all unconsciously or consciously in the dream realm volunteering to take a little load off. Like, if each little ant takes a little piece, right? It makes it a lot more easier for her.
Right. And then at the same time, that I Ching hexagram says something about the stronger the wagon, the heavier the load.
Or if there's nothing we're given that we can't handle and life is particularly challenging, then we must be masters. We didn't beat 500 million sperm for nothing. We won that race. Obviously, it's something very important we came here to do.
I was going to say, sometimes I think because we, put ourselves out there, that we are supposed to be the strong ones. We're not allowed to crumble. And, I think it's such a huge part of it is that we go through that, and that's perfectly a part of the whole process. I mean, some people are so unconscious and so out of touch with their feelings, and I think that's where we carry an extra burden in a lot of ways. Because anybody who really knows what's going on would be affected, and anybody who really has heart would care. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I think it's definitely a part of it. I think we all need to just support each other, and I think it is what makes us real when we have a message, because it's not like we're immune to pain. And I think that's why people identify with us, because we're not just a bunch of, yappers that just have great things to share. It's like we're really in it and we really feel it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's really awesome. And it's just, I didn't know that, you were such, an emotional being like myself. But yeah, totally just know I'm here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know you know that.
Mm-hmm. It's really good to know. What was I going to say now? I forgot again. I'm really curious to see where you end up as far as like your speaking, or where you're wanting to take it. I mean, because I feel like we need to be an example, and we need to be really honest about always our emotions and our journey. Like, I really focus on, more than anything, writing in my blog and having people come along with me on my journey and how I perceive things, through, I guess, a light worker's perspective, right? So and understanding the language of life, and doing that also through projects as well. I mean, there's so much talking, right? Now we've got to focus, and I told you about that before. So, I mean, I think that me and you very much synergize and parallel each other. So I think that it'll be complementary too, and so I'm here to help in whatever way I can.
Say that again?
I'm just in here to help whenever way I can as well.
Totally. Yeah, and if you think of anything that we could collaborate on, mm-hmm. I'm totally open. Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, that's what's so important to me too, is sharing, really being real. And, I post a lot that just really comes from my heart and what I'm going through. And a lot of times the timing is such that everybody's like, oh, I'm feeling that way too. And it's just like, well, this is where all the fun is, because we all get to just be in it together. Yeah. Then, try and present ourselves as being, and that's why, love your energy so much, because it's just, it's real. And that's what frees us from all this falseness, is to just be real, regardless of what it is. So yeah, and I think that's such a liberating example. We all just don't want to feel alone, and that we're alone in our processes and in our emotions and the challenges of, what. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, if you think of anything, we can somehow meet up even and create something. So I'm happy to jump on a plane. I'm going to be going to the East Coast eventually.
Oh, really? Oh, I'd love to see you in person, give you a big hug.
Right.
I'm feeling like, I think we need to create some kind of a community, an eco-community or something for the light workers, cities of light kind of a thing, where we can grow our own food, where we can live in a way where we're not so bound by expenses, right?